Alright, so this is just a preview of kind of what's to come. As the title says, I did pre-order a VR headset, the HP Reverb G2. I kind of went back and forth for a little while on whether or not I should actually pre-order this particular headset. And I've been looking at a lot of the things around VR since it first started picking up again. There's always the late 80s, early 90s, Nintendo and some of the other gimmicky style stuff, but I never liked 3D. 3D video was always garbage to me because the quality was so terrible and it messes with the eyes of some folks. So I never really got into 3D. I have 3 monitors here in front of me because I prefer a more immersive, high quality experience, and that's what I'm looking for in getting into VR. Now, I liked some of the HTC Vive, I liked one of the Oculus ones, but none of any of the VR headsets really kind of have the all-encompassing best options. There's the best for your specific needs, and none of what was available for the last few years has really been good enough for what I really want to get into with screen door issues, resolution, controllers, tracking, just a number of different issues across each of the different platforms. Oculus is really out of the picture, especially now with Facebook requiring their login to it. I don't really care for that option, but I don't necessarily dislike the equipment or the headset. The 2 main ones that I was looking at was the HP Reverb G2 and the Valve Index. I could never bring myself to get the Valve Index due to some issues with the quality of what comes out of the eyepieces. Not in that it's terrible, but just that a lot of the video shot through the eyepieces really tended to highlight screen dooring or sun rays or other specific issues that would, for me specifically, kind of mess with my eyes. I'm very light sensitive with certain things, and that can trigger migraines for me. So having screen door effects and other things that are going to make my eyes kind of wig out is not something that I really wanted to have in a VR experience. What really made me want the Index was the top-notch tracking, though I hate the lighthouses. We'll come back to that in a minute. And the touch controllers. I liked the whole hand tracking with the haptic or the touch sensitive capacitive part of the controller. However, in really examining it, I couldn't justify the $1,000 price tag to buy into the whole system at that point. In looking at the other options, I was always kind of stuck on wanting the Valve controllers just because I liked the way they gripped the hands with the way they have the pinch that goes around the back, so you can basically still use them without actually holding them. I liked that. And I liked the touch, but the more I looked into it, there's really not enough that takes proper advantage of having full finger tracking in a game. Yes, some games do utilize it, but there's nothing that says you can't configure a macro or use other existing options to trigger a whole hand grab versus just a finger off of one trigger or a thumb off of a top button. If you say pull down and then quickly double tap, it could tell it to use your whole hand to grab something. There's another number of options that are available to fake having full fingered tracking. You don't need to have each individual finger in current games. And I don't think it's going to get widespread enough until almost all of the major manufacturers have some way of tracking your entire fingers. So because the G2 is coming out without full hand tracking, again, I don't think it's going to be a big issue for a number of years. And again, you can always buy controllers and potentially get them to sync up with your specific headset. What really had me interested in the G2 up front was the quality of the image that was supposed to be coming out of the eyepieces. Yes, it's very high resolution. The refresh rate is reasonably good. It's better than my computer monitors. They're older and they cap out at 60 hertz, which I know is a limiting factor in a lot of what I do, but they're still top-notch monitors and they give me essentially a 5K resolution to play with, and I don't want to invest in what it would take to get an equivalent upgrade of that. I think it'd be like $1,400 to get a ultra wide that I could get reasonably close to this type of a setup just to gain the 144 hertz refresh rate and some of the other stuff that I would likely benefit from. But in investing in this newer technology, I wanted to make sure that I got something that would be really good, easy on the eyes, and last a good while, because I don't want to spend any amount of money on this and then end up having to replace it in a couple of years. I'd like it to last similar to the computers. I know it's not going to last forever, but I want to get some mileage out of it. So the G2 being $650 pre-ordered and shipped with the handset, the controllers, as well as the headset and the higher resolution and all of that seemed like a good deal. I originally wasn't totally sold on it. What kind of changed my mind is some of the early demo pre-release review units that were sent out to some folks that allowed them to show kind of what the quality through the eyepieces was going to be, the clarity of what you were seeing. Now I know the camera through the lens is never going to be as clear as reality, but in comparing people that were using the same camera to film multiple different headsets, I could really see the difference in the improvements that were made within the G2. So that's why I really got the headset side picked up on me. And then I really started looking at the controllers and went, you know what, I think the controllers will be fine. When people started talking about the tracking of moving the controllers behind their backs and out of the side of the cameras, there's enough predictive information there that they can get reasonably accurate. If you really play a game that's going to have the controllers out of sight all the time, then yeah, the lighthouses are likely going to be a better option for you. I think the perfect setup would be something like a front-based lighthouse that shoots at you with tracking, or maybe one you set up behind you. You'd put it at your computer because typically you're going to be facing the other way, especially if the cable is coming out of your headset and going back to your computer. So you can see I have plenty of room here to play. This is a huge room. I'm probably going to be looking that way when I play, and that means that I could set a lighthouse up here at my computer to track anything that goes behind me, while the cameras could track anything in front and to the sides with those controllers without having any issues. So I think that would be a better compromise instead of having to try and run wires around here with cats, a young daughter. I'm not going to leave the headset set up. And this is a huge ceiling. Let me see if I can go up on the camera here. That's a very tall ceiling. I'm not about to run wires all over this room because it's just not going to look good by the time I did that. And I don't think the wires are honestly long enough. I know they're crazy long on the index, but they're not going to be long enough to make it look quite right in this room. And I don't want to take them out, put them away, take them out, put them out. I want to be able to put the headset on and just enjoy the game, because a lot of my time is spent on the casual side of things now. So that's where I wanted to go with it. And that's ultimately why I ended up going with the HP Reverb G2. And I'm very excited to see what it's like. So the series of reviews, I'm not going to go too super in depth on technicalities. I'm still running my 5820K, 32 gigs of RAM, and I have a 1080 Ti that is very overclocked on water cooling. But I'm going to try to go with more the generic casual gamer out of the box experience. Yeah, we'll look at the hardware. Yeah, we'll look at the quality. I do have a few annoying concerns where things aren't as modular as I would like. I'd like to have a earphone jack just in case the nice earphones break off, because they're not like valves, if I recall, where you can take them off and replace them. Little niggles like that, but ultimately it's going to be kind of what the experience is out of the box. So similar to any of the hardware reviews I've done, we'll follow in the same vein and talk about it on that front. So I'm looking forward to whenever it comes out. I don't own a lot of games that support VR right now, but I'm looking at a couple of options for a shooter. Probably Beat Saber, of course. There's a couple other fighting ones that look kind of interesting. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 now. And really that's it for the moment, but I'm always looking to see kind of what's out there. I'm not really planning on investing in a ton of games up front. I want to kind of more focus on the experience and what the headset's capable of in the setup that I have. So I'm very excited and interested in how it'll be. We'll see what it does. Anyway, whenever it releases, stay tuned for those videos to start coming out. I just wanted to put a little bit of a preview out there, so if you have anything specific that you'd like to have me look at or comment about or review on based on the other reviews that I've done hardware wise, then just let me know in the comments, and we'll see you when the headset releases. Thank you.